Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire geek, and I've got some Stargate news today, hence the Stargate background. Stargate. It is great, I know that. Stargate background. So let's have a look. There's 3 stories, 2 from Gate World, 1 from Screen Rant, and as usual, all the links, I keep looking over there for some reason, all the links are in the description box below. And don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, follow me on my social medias, all that stuff. Right. So let's get this news up. Well, it's not news. Well, some news and some other stuff. Right, here we go. Right, confirmed. Stargate is leaving Netflix again. This is in the US. It's never been on Netflix in the UK. Your last day to watch Stargate SG-1 on Netflix is November 30th, as Amazon may be consolidating content to its own platform. Stargate is exiting Netflix once again, but with the franchise now having a new owner, this time it might be for good. Stargate SG-1, by the way, can you read that? Yes, you can. Stargate SG-1 has been available to stream on the service since December of 2020 and was briefly listed for removal at this time last year, but the show earned a reprieve in the form of a 1-year contract extension, so here we are again. Netflix in the United States now displays the message "Last day to watch on Netflix, November 30th. Assuming the service does not re-up its licensing deal with MGM, which seems unlikely if they put in that it's going off on November 30th, viewers will have to pick up their binge viewing elsewhere starting on December 1st. The show is currently available to watch on Amazon Prime Video alongside its spin-offs Stargate Atlantis and Stargate Universe, 2 shows that Netflix doesn't have. Meanwhile, Stargate Atlantis remains on Hulu, and all 3 shows in the sci-fi franchise can be found on ad-supported Pluto TV in the United States. In other countries and territories, check your local listings. Not that my local listings have Pluto TV. One big thing has changed. Since the license renewal in 2021, MGM and its library are now owned by Amazon. Excuse me. Which has its own streaming platform in Prime Video and Prime's ad-supported sidekick Freevee. Remember, it used to be IMDb TV, didn't it? So does Amazon own IMDb? I'm not up on the corporate dealings. Anyway, because Amazon purchased MGM for $8.45 billion for its film and television library, we've speculated that the company will eventually look to make the Stargate franchise exclusive to Prime Video. I bloody hope so. Or Freevee, which is viewable through the Prime Video interface. I hope not. I don't like adverts on streaming services. They annoy me. I don't like adverts on normal TV. They do me head in. But anyway, whether that will come to pass still remains to be seen, but an exit of the flagship series from Netflix could be a step in that direction. For viewers who have the benefit of subscriptions to both services, SG-1's departure from Netflix is not a great loss. The service streams inferior copies of the earlier seasons of the show in the 4:3 aspect ratio and 480 standard definition. Prime Video streams the upscaled episodes with a better picture and the 16:9 aspect ratio that was released on DVD. In the UK, it's available on Amazon, but not through Prime. You've got to subscribe to MGM, but even then, they're still not available. You've got to pay extra for some of the seasons. I think it's the later ones. But then it's a bit hit and miss. Sometimes you'll get a HD episode in 16:9, and sometimes you'll get a standard definition episode in 4:3. You never know how it's going to be. Anyway, and there's the lovely Share from Children of the Gods. Anyway, for the past 2 years, Netflix has also falsely identified the entirety of the series' 214 episodes as rated TV MA for mature audiences only. This is because it streams the original Showtime version of the show's first episode with full frontal nudity of her. And it's, it's worth looking at. And then inaccurately applies that episode's rating to all 10 seasons. By the way, it got re-edited, it says there, into what's called the final cut. Children of the Gods, the final cut. And they took out some scenes, including the full frontal nudity, to bring it into line with the rest of the series. But apparently Showtime wanted some nudity. No idea why. Maybe they wanted to be, put the show in Showtime. Anyway, as nice as it has been to have Stargate in front of the Netflix audience, in our view, this error has done material harm to the Stargate brand and its ability to acquire new viewers in the streaming era. Netflix made no effort to correct this over the past 23 months. Meanwhile, you can bookmark Gatewell's Where to Watch page for updates, blah, 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 blah. And that's it, right. So, yes, so it's leaving Netflix. So is it going to go to Amazon Prime? I hope so, and I hope it does it in this country as well, because, I did subscribe to MGM through the Amazon Prime app, and then I started watching, enjoying watching, the series, and then I think it's seasons 9 and 10, I think, weren't available. You had to pay extra for them, and I thought, I'm not paying extra for them now. I've watched all these. Why should I pay for these others? So I cancelled. I fell out with it, and I cancelled my subscription. I took my ball home. I'd had enough. By the way, have you noticed I've got my Stargate uniform on today? So hopefully we'll see what happens in December, I suppose, and see if Stargate appears on Amazon Prime. I bet it does in America, but it won't here because for some reason they don't seem to like us in the UK. There must be some rights issues, I don't know, because it's still shown over here on on Sky. Sky TV still shows Stargate quite a lot on its various channels. So there's probably some reason why it isn't being shown free on Amazon Prime. So that's that. So there you go. Right, close the iris. Where are we? Brad Wright says his new Stargate pilot is probably dead. Stargate's television co-creator says that his idea for a fourth live-action Stargate series would have been fun. As Stargate fans have worried over the past 6 months, Amazon and MGM may indeed be ready to turn the page on the science fiction franchise. Stargate television co-creator and executive producer Brad Wright is now speaking of his new series pitch in the past tense, stating that the pilot script is likely destined to gather dust. He commented on the state of the pilot script on social media this week, giving the strongest indication yet that he hasn't been involved in any active talks with Stargate's new owners. Wright shepherded the television franchise over the course of 14 years and 17 seasons. He co-created Stargate SG-1 with Jonathan Glassner in 1997, and both Stargate Atlantis 2004 and Stargate Universe 2009 with Robert C. Cooper. Is he related? I've always wondered, is he related to Merian C. Cooper? The King Kong creator. Maybe, I don't know. I've never looked him up. Anyway, he was brought on to develop a new Stargate project in late 2018 or early 2019. By the spring of 2020, he had a pilot script for a fourth live-action television series, which would have continued the existing canon and introduced a new team, while also providing ample opportunity for actors from previous incarnations to make guest appearances. And they were good at that. They were good at bringing in new teams, making those characters fun and engaging, because we had SG-1 with those characters, and even in seasons 9 and 10, which are my favourite seasons of SG-1, they brought in new characters, because Jack O'Neill were gone, wasn't he? Richard, what's his face? He were gone. Jack O'Neill were gone, although he popped in every now and again. He were off being a general. So they got Lieutenant Colonel Cameron Mitchell in to head up SG-1. And like I say, Stargate SG-1 seasons 9 and 10 are my two favourite seasons, although I do love all the others as well. But I probably tend to watch seasons 9 and 10 more than the others, but not on Amazon Prime or the MGM app. And then Stargate Atlantis. I love Stargate Atlantis, the team that they put together on there, which were mostly new characters. Elizabeth Weir we'd seen in Stargate SG-1. Two actresses played her. She had a head transplant. She went from being blonde to being black-haired magically. And obviously they brought in Rodney McKay. We'd seen him in SG-1 as, not a very nice character, and then he came over to a Stargate Atlantis, playing the same character, with the same, foibles, but we grew to love him. And then, of course, in Stargate Universe, an entirely new team, although we did get some cameos from people that we know, but an entirely new team trapped on the Destiny, the Starship Destiny thing. And that worked eventually, but then it got cancelled. Anyway, where were we? When Wright and MGM were preparing to go out and pitch the project and find a home with a broadcast or streaming partner, the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic brought everything to a screeching halt. Wright set to work on refining his script. Richard Dean Anderson. Why could I not remember that? It just popped in my head then. On refining his scripts during the long shutdown, but in the spring of 2021, MGM announced that it was selling the entire studio and all its assets to Amazon. After Amazon completed its $8.45 billion acquisition of MGM this past spring, fans of the current canon had one remaining hope, that the studio would see Wright's script as low-hanging fruit, a likely hit that was ready to greenlight from one of the TV franchise's original creators. Wright's latest message seems to indicate that he has not been in any ongoing negotiations with the studio thus far. In response to a fan inquiry about a possible new series, he wrote, "You won't hear news from me. MGM did hire me to write a pilot for a new show, but that was just before COVID hit. Timing couldn't have been much worse. All the players have changed in the interim, so it's likely destined to gather dust. Would have been fun though." And there's the tweet. You can see there. This is in line with the statement he made on a live stream for The Companion in July that his pilot will probably never see the light of day. Is he stringing us on? Has he signed some form of NDA? And it's things are going on in the background, and it's all a ruse. And then suddenly the gate will open, and we'll have new Stargate that'll follow on from the original canon. Or am I just being airy-fairy pipe dreams? Right, so what are Amazon and MGM going to do with the Stargate franchise? By any account, this would seem to be a high-profile property that more than 10 years after SGU went off the air is ripe for revisiting. In the current era of the mass proliferation of streaming services, it's pretty surprising that it has not happened already. Wright is confident that the studio will eventually do something with Stargate, even if it isn't his proposed series. They'll bugger it up. Thank you to everyone who's been asking MGM and Amazon to bring Stargate back. The old hashtag we want Stargate, etc. He tweeted on Stargate SG1's 25th anniversary in July. Stargate SG1's, did I say that? Stargate SG1's 25th anniversary in July. With amazing fans like all of you, I'm sure they will. On Monday, he wrote on Twitter, MGM Amazon will make another Stargate. It may just take some time for them to decide what they want to do, but they own it, not me. Broadly speaking, 3 possible scenarios suggest themselves for the future of the franchise. When Amazon and MGM executives eventually do turn their attention back to Stargate, one is that they could turn to Brad Wright as a writer and producer who holds 14 years of experience and the trust of the established fan base and revive the script that has been collecting dust. The second possibility is that the studios seek out new creatives to pitch a new direction for Stargate, either as some form of continuation of what has come before or as a reboot of the franchise. This was MGM's short-lived plan in 2014, when original Stargate feature film creators Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin were given the go-ahead to produce the first in the planned trilogy of movies. After some creative differences, the project languished and was finally declared dead in 2016. Thank God. Third and finally, if studio execs are not interested in producing the 2020 script but do want to dance with the one that brung 'em and reassure fans that Stargate is in good hands, they could ask Wright himself to pitch something different. Other Stargate writers are also still active in pitching and running shows, from Robert Cooper, Generation Mars, and Jonathan Glassner, The Ark, to Joseph Malozzi's Dark Matter, or is it Malozzi? I don't know. And Martin Guerro's Quantum Leap. Where Amazon and MGM will come down on this question is anybody's guess. Gateworld and Stargate fandom at large have been riding the studio hard for more than 4 years, since 2018's web series Stargate Origins, including numerous social media campaigns, all of which have been met with silence. Both before and after the sale to Amazon, MGM hasn't given any public indication that it has any intention of doing anything further with the brand. So where do we go from here? Leaves that question hanging in the air, does Darren. So yeah, so I don't know what they're going to do. My mate over at SciTrek J often has videos about Stargate. So, but he says he knows people inside, Amazon and MGM. So he hears things, but I don't know what's going to happen. Go check him out. But I don't know what's going to happen either. I hope they do it, and I hope they continue the canon rather than do something new. But we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? So, finally, go away, Screen Rant. Screen Rant, for some strange reason, has this story that's appeared today, on the 3rd of November 2022. Stargate's go old, fully explained, origin and powers. Why? Why has this suddenly appeared on Screen Rant? Does this mean, they know something? Is Stargate going to make an amazing comeback suddenly that we need to know about the go old, which were SG-1 main bad guys? They weren't the go old in the Roland Emmerich film. It was just Ra. The go old name appeared in SG-1. Anyway, the greatest villains of Stargate are the parasitic aliens known as the Goa'uld, or sometimes they just say Gould. But just what are these creatures and what are they capable of? And there we see some of them. That's, I can't remember his name. It'll come to me. But that's Ra. That's one of his guards. I think that's from the film, I think. Oh, God, what they call him. He's got a funny name because he's like a Central American type, Goa'uld. They're all based on gods. They'll probably mention it in here. Right. Every successful franchise needs villains. I hope it's not a long article. Let's have a look. Nah, it's not too bad. Every successful franchise needs villains, and Stargate's Goa'uld number among the most creative alien empires in science fiction. In 1994, viewers were introduced to a spectacular new science fiction mythology in which the gods of ancient Egypt were actually real. The Stargate film became the foundation for a vast transmedia franchise, one that only really came to an end 16 years later when the final spin-off series Stargate Universe was cancelled after season 2. In Stargate, can you see that? There we go. In Stargate, humanity has discovered a network of artificial wormholes known as Stargates. Well, a network of Stargates that create artificial wormholes. They're not there all the time. That allow for travel across the galaxy and beyond, constructed by an ancient race that has now ascended to a higher plane of existence. See, the Goa'uld didn't build the Stargates, although I think they could. I think they could build Stargates, but they didn't originally build them. The back-engineered Stargates, and what they call transport ring technology as well, which is related to Stargate technology. Where were we? Constructed by an ancient race that has now ascended. I've just said that, haven't I? These Stargates are the key to exploring the rest of the Milky Way. Unfortunately, it doesn't take long for explorers to discover they are not the first to make use of these Stargates. What's more, humanity is far from safe to explore the stars, for a vast alien empire known as the Goa'uld are eager to return to Earth and conquer it. Here is everything viewers need to know about Stargate's Goa'uld explained, including their origins and power. Right, the origin of the Goa'uld. That's what a Goa'uld looks like. That's Hathor holding one. Right, viewers who watched the Stargate spin-off series Stargate SG-1 learned that the Goa'uld apparently evolved on the planet humans have taken to calling P3X888. They used a computer program to find, addresses, Stargate addresses, and they gave them like a hexadecimal whatever coding. So they were all called stuff like that, rather than giving them proper names. They flourish in an aquatic environment and evolved to become parasites that can take possession of stronger hosts. Their first hosts were a brutal race. Well, they weren't really brutal. Known as the Unus. They were a physically powerful race, there you go. Physically powerful beings who are far stronger than humans. Using some Unas as hosts, the Goa'uld began to explore their world, and it didn't take them long to discover a Stargate. They were kind of primitive for Unas. They were like that planet's equivalent, I suppose, of cavemen. So I suppose they were brutal in that sense that, it was a tough place to survive. Atok was the first so-called alpha male of the Goa'uld Empire during Atok's reign. Or was it Atok? I don't know. The Goa'uld learned how to use the Stargate and discovered a world rich in ancient technology. I'll say Atok. Atok was killed and replaced by his son Apep, who was in turn succeeded by Anubis and later by Ra. It wasn't until around 10,500 BC that the Goa'uld discovered Earth. And there's Apophis. Tell you, my brain just with names. Played by P.T. Williams. In Stargate, Earth's pantheons of gods are often really aliens, a familiar idea from science fiction that even initially deployed by Marvel with the Asgardians, although the MCU has since pivoted in a different direction. The Goa'uld are the dark truth behind Egyptian mythology, although some other pantheons are influenced by the Goa'uld as well. And don't forget, the Asgard were nothing to do with the Goa'uld. They're enemies of the Goa'uld and were essentially little grey Roswell aliens. They assumed the Norse mythology. That's why they were called the Asgard. And they had names like Thor and all that, and Freya. Human slaves were taken to other Goa'uld worlds scattered across the galaxy, while others were used as hosts. Some were evolved through genetic experimentation, transforming into a genetically engineered offshoot of humanity called Jafar. A rebellion in 2995 BC saw the Goa'uld overthrown and the Stargate was buried, so it could not be used again. The Goa'uld did not see any need to reconquer Earth at this time because they had already seeded humanity across the stars. These alien conquerors were absorbed into Earth's myths and legends, and it wasn't until the Stargate was opened in the 1990s that humanity realised the truth behind their mythology, although it was opened as well in the 1930s and again in the 1940s. And there's Hathor again. The Stargate project became Earth's primary line of defence against the Goa'uld, with archaeologist Daniel Jackson and Stargate team SG-1 gradually learning the truth about the Goa'uld. They discovered that Goa'uld can possess any human being, suppressing their own identity and taking full control of their body. The eyes of a Goa'uld host typically glow with some inner energy, although Goa'uld can conceal this. Goa'uld hosts are physically enhanced, possessing tremendous strength. Worse still, every Goa'uld inherits the knowledge of its parent, meaning every Goa'uld knows everything it needs to conquer and destroy. It's a bit shaky, is that, in the Stargate lore? Because what do you mean it's parent? Because the two Goa'ulds are not supposed to mate when they're in human form, so that produce like a Harcessis child. It's like a human child that possesses all the knowledge of the Goa'uld, so they're forbidden. But Goa'uld are supposed to come from like a queen Goa'uld. There were a queen Tok'ra, who were like the Goa'uld, but the enemies of the good, like good Goa'uld. So there were a queen Tok'ra, so is there a queen Goa'uld? And we often see, infant Goa'ulds in vats and stuff swimming around. And Jafar carry infant Goa'ulds in their stomachs, but they don't possess the Jafar. They just carry them until maturity, and they take them out, and they get another one. So it's a bit weird. So where does this knowledge of its parent? I don't know. The Goa'uld possess incredibly advanced technology, but it's important to note that with only a few exceptions, they are incapable of innovation. I don't know, there are some quite clever Goa'uld scientists. Goa'uld technology expands in fits and starts as the parasitic aliens discover other species whose technology exceeds their own. In truth, this is humanity's greatest advantage over the Goa'uld. Humans are creative and innovative, and thus able to take the Goa'uld by surprise. Stargate is renowned for its sci-fi innovations, even using a so-called quantum mirror to explore the multiverse decades before the idea became fashionable. I don't know. It was just a verge. I don't know. You could say Star Trek did it first with the episode Mirror Mirror in the 60s. But anyway, one of the most important pieces of technology is a restorative sarcophagus used by the Goa'uld, capable of healing any injury, and is so potent it can bring someone back from the brink of death. Although it wasn't really used that often in the series, to be honest. It was used tons in the film, but in the series, it wasn't used that often, because it's kind of a cheat, isn't it? Repeated exposure to the sarcophagus is dangerously corruptive, however, and the sarcophagus is the reason the Goa'uld have become so evil. It is addictive, and many Goa'uld enjoy resting in the sarcophagus, even when they are not in need of healing. I think Jack O'Neill was killed multiple times by Baal and revived in the sarcophagus, but he didn't turn evil. Even humans who rest in a sarcophagus wind up corrupted, becoming aggressive and egotistical. During one mission, the noble and kind-hearted Daniel Jackson was himself repeatedly exposed to a sarcophagus, and even he was unable to resist its influence, but Jack O'Neill was. Over the course of Stargate SG-1's 10 seasons, the team learned a splinter group of Goa'uld had turned against the Empire during the reign of Ra. They called themselves the TOYG, a name that literally means against Ra. These TOYG, or Tok'ra, depends who you ask. These TOYG were all spawned by a Goa'uld named Ageria, Ra's former mate, and were thus imprinted with her compassion. They swore never to use the sarcophagus, thereby preserving their innate goodness. Unfortunately, it soon became clear the TOYG could never overwhelm the Goa'uld. They were too few in number, and they shared the Goa'uld weakness of possessing only a limited ability to innovate. By the way, Ageria turned up in SG-1. I can't remember now the name of the people that found a race of humans on this planet who were technologically advanced, but about equivalent to Earth in sort of like the First World War time. They found Ageria, and they were using her to create larval Goa'uld, and they were taking something from the larval Goa'uld and creating a medicine with it, and that eventually became tritonin, which helped the Jafar become free of the influence of the larval Goa'uld that they carried. Means they didn't have to carry a larval Goa'uld, and they were used to inject themselves with tritonin, which freed them from Goa'uld slavery. Anyway, it didn't take long for Stargate's SG-1 team to encounter the TOYG, and they swiftly formed an alliance with Earth. Stargate SG-1's rebel Jafar Teal'c had limited knowledge of the TOYG, but a major step forward came when one team member, Dr. Samantha Carter, was briefly host to a TOYG symbiote, Jolina. She learned they were good, choosing not to dominate a host, but rather to bond with them, a bit like the Trill in Star Trek. A TOYG later bonded with Sam's father, Jacob, to save his life. I can't call that one now. I can't remember now. Jacob became a permanent bridge between the TOYG and humanity, helping keep the alliance going through some difficult times. Selmek. That's who Jacob bonded with. Stargate SG-1 and the TOYG neutralised enough major Goa'uld to leave the rest vying for power, and the Goa'uld Empire eventually fell to infighting between the so-called System Lords. The last to fall was Baal, who attempted to use time travel to rewrite history and prevent the Goa'uld's downfall. Stargate's model of time travel principally involved the use of wormholes, and SG-1 were able to use the Stargate to travel back and correct the past, killing Baal. Stargate may have begun as a story of exploration, but it ended with the entire Milky Way freed from a horrific race of conquerors, an unprecedented act of liberation. Yet we don't really find out what happened to the Goa'uld after, there were a Jafar rebellion, and obviously the Goa'uld Empire fell, but there was still some knocking about at Baal, but I don't know what happened to them. There must still be some out there, but most of the Goa'uld fleet, were taken by the Jafar and also by the Lucian Alliance, which is it's a bit unclear how they came to power, how they ended up with so many Goa'uld ships. I don't know, but that was like a human gangsters sort of that ended up with lots of Goa'uld ships. But anyway, so there you go. That's all about the Goa'uld. I don't know why Screen Rant felt the need to have an article about the Goa'uld, just, suddenly. But it was very interesting. And go and watch Stargate. Go and watch Stargate on wherever you can watch it. If you're in the States, get it watched on Netflix or Hulu or, Pluto TV. If you're in the UK, watch it on Sky or Amazon Prime. You can see most of them. Well, you can watch all of Stargate on Amazon. But not on Prime. It's not free. You've either got to subscribe to the MGM app, and even then, seasons 9 and 10, I think you have to pay extra for. I think it's about £20 per season. I think £19.99 or something like that. Also like £2.49 per episode. When being tight, I wasn't willing to pay that. But anyway, I will leave it there. That was just a couple of stories about Stargate. I haven't done Stargate for a while, and I felt the need to put me camos on and me SG3. Where is it? There you go. My SG. Can you see it? There you go. Can't see it for bloody microphone. Anyway, it's up there. My SG3 top. Because I'm a Marine. But with long hair. Retired. So we'll leave it there. So wherever you are, in the Milky Way or the Pegasus Galaxy or on Destiny, look after each other. And until next time, I'll say the